We're about 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Katie Greifeld and Bailey Lipschultz in for Romaine Bostic. And here to help take us through the closing bell, it's a global simulcast. We're joined by Tim Stenovec and Emily Graffeo. She's in for Carol Masser. We bring together all of our various audiences, Tim Stenovec, to talk about, man, it looks like that 7-day winning streak on the S&P 500. It's going to break today.
It looks like it's going to break today. At one point it wasn't, though. It was going to become an 8th day. Still, if you look at what the S&P 500 has done this week, it's the best week in months. At one point it was going to be the best week in almost a year. But even, Emily, with today's decline, it's still looking like the best 5-day period going back to November 28th of last year.
Yeah, and the U.S. equity benchmark just a few weeks ago was really down for the year. It's now about flat on a year-to-date basis, so we'll continue to watch that as we head into earnings season next week.
Yeah, and it does continue to be a market that really is driven in part by what oil is doing. And I also just want to call out that the Mag 7 up more than 5% on the last 2 weeks, so outperforming to the upside to start April, even after that pretty putrid performance in March.
Yeah, I have to say, though, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's interesting that you take a look at the S&P 500 since March. We're pretty much round trip. We've taken back a lot of those losses. Can't say the same when you take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, for example, Tim.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And you know, if you think about from the perspective of, okay, what is actually being priced in where? The stock market and the equity market saying, okay, we're kind of back to where we were before the war. Bond market, not. And the oil market, like Bailey said, not either. Who do you trust, Katie?
Who do you trust? You can only trust yourself at the end of the day, Tim. But let's take a look at these closing numbers on this Friday. The S&P 500, as we were talking about, it's going to snap its winning ways, down just 0.1%, though. And we know it has been a blockbuster week overall for the equity market. Similar story when it comes to the Dow, down a little bit more. You can't take too much information from that because it's a price-weighted index. But in any case, the NASDAQ managing to actually post a gain on this Friday, higher by about 0.4% if you round up. And the small caps, too, also seeing slight losses here.
Interestingly enough, even though we only saw a decline of about 0.1% in the S&P 500, the vast majority of stocks did fall today. 365 decliners in the S&P today, Bailey. 137 did move to the upside.
Yeah, and looking at it on a sector basis, your big laggards, consumer staples, healthcare and financials, really only outperformance in tech, materials, and consumer discretionary. So an interesting scene going on underneath the surface on a day that we ended up down incrementally.
Well, let's get to some of the stocks that moved and got our attention today. I want to start with the gainers. CoreWeave shares finished the day up by more than 10%. This after Anthropic agreed to tap data center capacity from the Neo Cloud to handle increasing demand for its AI services. It's a multi-year deal. It'll help Anthropic build and deploy its Claude AI models and includes a variety of NVIDIA chip architectures at data centers in the U.S. So CoreWeave now counts 4 of the largest AI model makers, including Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, and Meta as customers. That's according to the company's CEO. Also, wanted to talk a little bit about one of the big gainers, Organon & Co. Shares climbed today 28%. It was the most intraday on record. The Economic Times reported that Sun Pharmaceutical is set to make a $12 billion offer for the women's health company. Sun Pharmaceutical said the report was, quote, speculative, but that still didn't cause shares to move away from those highs. Organon surged close to 18% for its best day on record yesterday. Sun Pharma has completed detailed due diligence that lasted over 3 months and is now finalizing a financing package before submitting a firm offer in the coming weeks. That's according to the Economic Times.
Tim, do you know the best part about Organon?
I don't.
They are headquartered in Jersey City.
You know what's so funny?
Wow.
I was actually just going to say, you know what the best part about CoreWeave is?
They're based in Livingston. They're down the road from where I live. This is in New Jersey. I don't know what the third company, where Commvault's based.
Commvault is in the Midwest.
Oh, well,
sorry.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
We've heard a song about it.
Commvault Systems. I'm sorry, guys, but it's okay. You know, you guys are both in New Jersey, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what the best thing about Jersey City is?
What is it?
It's right next to Hoboken, New Jersey.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see what Commvault Systems did. There it is, up more than 10% today. It's the data management software company. It's exploring a sale after receiving takeover interest from multiple parties. This is according to Reuters, who cited 4 unidentified people who are familiar with the matter. CVLT is the ticker. I just want to double check. and make sure it's not in New Jersey, guys?
Yeah, please.
It is in New Jersey.
No way.
It's in New Jersey.
Tim, when are you moving to New Jersey?
I had it wrong. I can't believe I was looking at a different company earlier.
New Jersey.
If you
It's in
squint, New
Tinton Falls,
Jersey
New
is kind of
Jersey.
in the Midwest.
I didn't even mean to do this today. It's the Midwest of New Jersey,
The
I
Midwest
guess you
of
could
New
say.
Jersey, some
Yeah.
could say.
Okay, so,
All right.
Emily, take it away.
All right, I haven't researched where any of my decliners are headquartered, so
We'll do
I
that as you're talking, don't
apologize
worry.
for that. But let's take a look at Fair Isaac, also known as FICO, falling as much as 15% today, the most intraday since July, and hitting the lowest level since November 2023. Analysts on Wall Street pointing to a recent Housing Wire podcast with the CEO of the Mortgage Bankers Association, where the exec discussed measures to help home purchase affordability, including increasing credit score bureau competition, and also calling for modernizing credit reporting and allowing market forces to prevail. So that weighing on shares of that stock. Maybe the company's headquartered in New Jersey.
It's actually headquartered in Montana. If
Montana.
You were curious.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Katie, for
Yeah.
that.
What's next?
I'm also watching ServiceNow. Those shares down 8% to close out this Friday, extending a recent sell-off as UBS downgrades the company to neutral from buy. This is actually a fourth straight day of declines for ServiceNow, has lost about 19% just in this week, and the share is now trading at the lowest level since 2023. CoreWeave was higher. ServiceNow is down. ServiceNow, more of a software name. Again, that trade rippling through the market of these companies that can be vulnerable to an AI disruption. That kind of still percolating here for ServiceNow. And then finally, Simply Good Foods. I feel like we're all of us here are protein maxers. We all like
Huge.
protein, right?
Huge on protein. Actually, Billy, are you huge on protein?
I don't max anything,
Okay.
but I do
Yes.
eat protein. I prefer protein, but I get confused when max is spelled incorrectly and thrown at the end of anything.
So if we couldn't like Bailey Lipschultz anymore, the man who doesn't max anything, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, protein's tough because sometimes when you package it into food, it doesn't taste great and it feels more of like a chore than like a pleasure of eating it.
That's
But
true.
I won't comment on any specific protein bars that I prefer, but we are watching shares of Simply Good Foods down, finishing the day down about 12%. They're the maker of Atkins and Quest food products, and they
I love
specifically.
Quest.
Okay, you do?
I do. Sorry.
Well, they said that their slower quarter-over-quarter Quest consumption was affected by slower base velocity in chips and bars. They slashed their annual forecast for the second quarter, falling short of Wall Street expectations. So
According to the DES page, they're based in Colorado, so just a small sample size. Stocks that are up are based in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Thank you for
there
that
you
context.
go. That's what we figured out today. I have to say, I'm huge on protein. It's super important. Apparently, pregnant women are supposed to be getting like 100 grams of protein a day, which I'm not doing. But fiber is also really important, and just want the audience to remember
Geography lessons and
that. Yeah, nutrition.
Nutrition, nice.
All right, the screen is telling me I should talk about yields right now. So let's do that because we did see a sell-off today. We got CPI data this morning for the month of March, so it actually neatly encompassed what we've seen unfold in the Middle East so far. It was as expected, but I mean, the rate of change, we haven't seen that in about 4 years when it comes to the monthly measure. But you can see we saw a bit of a sell-off across the curve here, but we're within the ranges that we've been getting used to, though, again, compared to where we were at the end of February, sharply higher.
You mentioned years, Katie. Something we've been talking about for years is the shortage of air traffic controllers. And the U.S. government is out with a new campaign to try to attract people to the profession. They are 3,000 short of targeted staffing levels. They have about 11,000 fully certified controllers. They're going after video gamers for the jobs of air traffic controllers. This campaign tells gamers they've been training to be controllers all along. The job offers average annual salaries of $155,000 after 3 years, Emily.
The tagline of this campaign, it's not a game, it's a career. And of course, this isn't only a job, it's a really important one as we face those shortages of airline employees.
So all that time that people, parents said you were wasting time playing video games, you're actually preparing for maybe becoming an air
Super
traffic
important
controller.
job.
I mean, it's a smart pitch, especially when you consider how high pressure being an air traffic controller is. I mean, I'm not saying that certain video games are as high pressure, obviously, but certainly if you love adrenaline, I think that those skills would map over. Let's quickly talk about what we're expecting, though, tonight. I guess this is related to air and space. Artemis 2, the mission, it's going to splash down in the Pacific Ocean this evening. We're going to see the crew capsule take a really fiery plunge through the planet's atmosphere before eventually splashing down. This was the 10-day lunar flyby, and now we're welcoming these astronauts back home. And Bloomberg TV is actually going to have special coverage of the splashdown. I believe that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I actually think I'm going to be watching. I'll be on my couch.
Yeah, this has been a really cool thing to just track as someone who enjoys talking about space and space movies, but really seeing in real time, Tim.
It's really cool. I was able to watch the launch with my kids, plan to watch the splashdown with them tonight as well. So we are looking forward to that Bloomberg coverage this evening.